Welcome to Patronum, the Google Workspace Manager. In this extended video, we're going to show you the capabilities of Patronum for your Google Workspace environment. We are going to break this video down into 3 separate sections. In the first section, we'll be exploring the day-to-day administration tasks that can be achieved within Patronum. We'll then move into our workflow section, or as we call it, our policy environment. Here we will show you how you can automate many of the on- and offboarding tasks of your Google Workspace users. We will then finish off with our new Google Drive management and compliance offering. The first thing you'll notice is that Patronum looks like a natural part of the Google Workspace family, and that's something we're extremely proud about. We built Patronum using the Google Material Design Framework. Patronum is also hosted and distributed 100% within the Google Cloud platform. We make extensive use of the Google APIs and perform the majority of our tasks directly against Google Workspace and the Google directory. The Organisational Chart view we have here uses the Google Directory Manager attribute in order to connect people together in an organization hierarchy. We can change the view by selecting this icon here. We can change the view to a list view or a card view, and then back to the org chart view. For this demonstration, we're going to be using Gareth as the user we will be performing our administrative tasks on. We can locate our users via the search bar, enter a user's name, email address, or even job title to find them. We can access Gareth by selecting his name or the More Info link. This will then expand Gareth's card to display all the information and details related to Gareth's Google Workspace account. From this interface, we can reset Gareth's password, we can rename his account, we can remove and delete his account, and we can also suspend, transfer Google Drive data, move Gareth within our Google directory structure, or hide Gareth from the Google address book. We can also provide an end date, which can be used within one of our offboarding policies, or we can perform an emergency offboarding, which when linked with a policy can be used to remove Gareth quickly and securely from our Google Workspace environment. Okay, so now we're going to focus first on the profile section. Let's click on the Edit option. From here we can edit all of the Google directory information. Patronum is reading all this information in real time from the Google directory. As you can see, we have all the standard information that you would expect to see in the Google Admin Console. The Google directory attributes are clearly listed for easy management. There are also additional custom attributes that we have added to this demo system. We can also add other attributes to the Google directory. Let's take a look at the company's specific attributes we have created. We've added the attribute pronouns, and we've also added the working hours attribute. These attributes are visible to everyone in the domain, and within Patronum, we've given users the ability to edit their own version of these custom attributes, so they don't have to ask their administrator to keep them updated. So let's exit from this section of the application and move on into the Google Groups section. Here, by selecting this yellow icon, we can add Gareth to other Google Groups, either as a member, a manager, or as an owner. We can also change the role Gareth has within his existing Google Groups. Within the Google Calendar section, we give you visibility over all of Gareth's calendars, including the ones he's been shared on. I can select one of his calendars, and we can see who owns that calendar and which other users have access. We can also share the calendar with other users. We can also add other users' calendars to Gareth's account. Simply select the user and then the calendar. So let's say we want to add the office calendar to Gareth and that we want him to have the ability to manage and change the events within that calendar. Moving swiftly on to the Google Contacts section, here we give you visibility over all of the contacts within Gareth's Google Contacts, everything from the labels, and also the ability to add and edit Gareth's Google Contacts. Looking at the File section, we give you the ability to explore and manage Gareth's Google Drive. Here we can see and search all the files in Gareth's My Drive. If we right-click on a file, we can share it with other users, or we can change the ownership of this file completely. In addition to My Drive access, we also give you access to all of Gareth's shared drives. We can explore these shared drives, and again, with a right click, we can see who else has access to this shared drive. Within the Signature section, we give you the ability to see all of Gareth's email signatures that are associated with a send as email address. We can see his primary email signature. We can also see other email signatures that Gareth may have set up for other send as addresses. We also allow you to see the email signature in HTML code, which can be useful when you are designing an email signature for the first time. Later, we will show you how you can use a policy within Patronum to automatically distribute an email signature to all your users. Moving through to the Settings section, here we give you the ability to view and edit the vacation responder or auto-reply for Gareth. We can take a look and edit Gareth's labels. We can see Gareth's send as addresses. Any email forwarding that has been configured. Any email filters that Gareth has set up. We can enable or disable POP or IMAP. And one of our most widely used features within this section is delegate access. From here we can set delegate access. We can grant other users access to Gareth's account, and we can also give Gareth access to other users' mailboxes through mailbox delegation. Right, moving on to the next part of our demonstration, we're going to talk about policies. This is our workflow environment, which allows you to create automatic on- and offboarding processes. We can create a new policy by clicking on the yellow icon over there on the right, but we already have some that we created earlier. So we're going to select this England team onboarding policy. First of all, you can see that we have exactly the same tabs that we saw when we managed Gareth's account. However, we now have an additional workflow tab. This workflow tab defines the who is it that we are going to apply our policy to. And that can be defined through two sections we have here. First of all, the conditions. The conditions tell the policy where in the Google directory we are going to search for our users. We can define this based on organization units. We can exclude organization units. Maybe you have an organization unit that contains only service accounts that you would want excluding. We can apply a policy to a Google group or exclude a Google group. You can also have multiple options by selecting the Add button here. For this example, we're going to use the org unit England within our Google directory. We can then define a filter to narrow down our policy criteria based on any status or attribute of a Google Workspace user. Anything from the logged in status, when the account was created, when was the first time the user signed in, is the account an administrator, all the way through to attributes such as department, email address, job title, location, and so on. However, for this demonstration, we want to leave this section blank, meaning that we want to return all users within the England org unit. We can verify that our workflow logic is correctly configured by selecting the preview option. This option will query the Google directory and in real time return a list of the users that match our workflow criteria. These users will be the Google Workspace accounts that this policy at this moment in time will be applied to. If any new users join our organization and match our workflow criteria, they will also be affected by the policy. As our policies run hourly, we don't have to wait too long for new users to be affected. So the first section we can configure within our policy is the Profiles section. Here we can set profile-specific information for our users. For example, we can set everyone's manager to be a specific user, or maybe everyone within our policy are based in the same location. From a Google Group perspective, we can automatically add users to Google Groups. I can select one of our Google Groups here, and the users from this policy will be automatically added. Now, we believe that a Google Group is a security boundary within our Google Workspace environment. Access is often granted to Google Groups, and important and often confidential information is sent to Google Groups via email. As such, we believe that group membership should be automatically managed by a policy. That is why users who have manually been added to a group who do not match the policy criteria will be removed from the Google Group. From a calendaring standpoint, we can automatically add Google Calendars to our users. For example, we can take the calendar of the individual users affected by this policy and share it automatically with, say, their manager or indeed any other user within our Google Workspace system. We can also select other users' calendars and share their calendar with the users within the policy. And we can also change what level of access they have to any's calendars. Looking at the Google Contacts section, we have two options for you. The first is one of the most popular features within Patronum, and that's Directory Contacts. This feature takes our Google directory and stores the contact information within our users' Google Contacts. So let's create a label for our users called England Team Members. By selecting the advanced filter, we are able to define which users will be stored within our label in our users' Google Contacts. Using the same interface that we had within our Workflow section, we can specify that we only want users from the Google directory that have England as their department. This will then copy these contact details of these users over to our policy users' Google Contacts, which in turn will download them to our users' smartphones. This means that now all our users have the correct contact details for everyone from their department stored natively on their mobile device. No longer will you cut work colleagues off because you don't recognize their phone number when they call. We also have the ability to take a user's contacts within a Google label and share them via the policy. So let's take all the contacts tagged by this label here, England Squad, and share them with those affected by the policy. By setting the permissions, we can allow others from the policy to also edit and update these contacts. From a Google Drive perspective, again, if we right-click, we can add files and folders, make copies of other users' Google Drive files, or create a folder structure for our users. This is a really nice feature if you want to create a particular way of working within your organization by setting up specific folders or even sharing shortcuts. Another popular feature is our email signature management. Here we can select one of our existing email signature templates or create a template from scratch. Let's select this one here. In the editor, we can add additional information using these drop-downs, or we can also select custom attributes like the working hours attribute we discussed earlier in the demonstration. We can also take a look at the source code of our email signature. You will notice that within our email signature template, we have these conditional statements. You can create these conditional statements by clicking on the Conditions button here. If I select Conditions, it allows me to select a particular attribute, define the condition, and then enter the text I want to display when the condition is matched. In this example, we are saying, if phone is not empty, display this text. This means that if we have a telephone number in our Google directory, I want to display this code, which will show the phone icon and the phone number. We can see what this looks like by selecting the preview option here. If we select Aaron here, we can see that some of the icons have not been displayed as he does not have the necessary information. However, if we select Gareth, we can see that he has a fully populated profile and the email signature is therefore fully populated with a phone number, website, and also an address. We can also see that his working hour statement is displayed here at the bottom of his email signature. We also have the ability to set email signatures for domain aliases and also secondary domains that you may have configured within your Google Workspace. And finally, we have the Settings section. Here we can create a vacation response for our users, add labels, set up email aliases, configure email forwarding, create email filters, enable and disable POP and IMAP, as well as setting up delegate access for these users affected by the policy. Okay, so that was how we can use Patronum to onboard our users into Google Workspace. Now let's look at how we can offboard our users when they leave our organization. I've already created an offboarding policy here. Within this policy, we follow the same type of approach as we did earlier. First, we need to define our workflow. For an offboarding policy, I would recommend moving your departing user into a specific organizational unit. In this example, I've created one called Offboarding. You could, however, use one of the Google directory attributes as a trigger and define that within the filter section. For example, we could use the end date attribute or specify that we are interested in users that have been suspended. Let's keep this policy simple and just focus on users moved into the offboarding organizational unit. Once we have defined how we are going to identify our offboarding users, we can specify what will happen to them as part of the policy. We could decide to change the user's department to exit or change other Google attributes in the directory. When working with offboarding, we need to select the smaller deprovision icon here. This will give us the deprovision or offboarding options for Google Groups. From here, we can transfer any Google group that our departing user owned to an executor. The executor can be defined within each section. Typically, this would be the user's manager, but could be any account within our Google Workspace system. We can also remove the user from all Google groups. From a calendaring point of view, we can remove the departing user from any appointments they are invited on. This helps keep appointments clean of departed user accounts. We can transfer any of the user's primary calendar events to an executor. We could, if required, simply delete the events or just the future events, freeing up calendar resources such as meeting rooms. Or we could remove the user from any shared calendars. And again, you can specify a different executor for calendar events. Moving through to our contacts section here, we can transfer any contact label sharing that has been configured. We can transfer the contacts over to the executor. And another great feature here is that Patronum can remove the departing user from other users' Google contacts. From within the Google Drive and Files section, we give you the option to first decide what files you would like to transfer over. Is it all files, just the files that have not been shared, or the shared files? You can transfer the files over to a Google shared drive and using our macros define the folder structure where you want the files to be stored. By entering 2 curly brackets, Patronum will display all the possible attributes available for selection. Alternatively, we can move the departing user's files over to the executor. We can also exclude specific folders from the transfer process. And finally, we have the Settings section. Here, we can remove delegate access as well as delegators. Transfer delegate access to the executor, or make the executor a delegate of the departing user's inbox. More importantly, we have the Security section, where we can perform several tasks that help secure our departing user's account. We can delete the 2-step verification backup codes. We can delete any app-specific passwords. We can change the user's password. We can remove the recovery email address as well as remove the recovery phone number. We can disconnect any third-party applications from our Google Workspace account. We can force the user to be automatically signed out. We can hide the user, or move the user to a different organizational unit. This is a common approach when following a multi-phased offboarding process. We can rename the user. We can even append information to their email address. If we rename the user, we can take their email address and give it to another user. This means that new emails sent to the departed user can be actioned after they have left. In this example, we are giving an email alias to the user's manager. We can also create a label and email filter so that it's clear which emails are being delivered to the departed user. We could instead use a Google group and assign the email alias to that. We could suspend the account and finally delete the account. From a mobile management perspective, we utilize the Google Workspace mobile management capabilities to wipe the mobile device, remove the account from the mobile device, or block the account on the device. And then finally, we have our licensing options. Here, we can remove Google Workspace licenses from our users. We can allocate licenses should you want to archive your Google Workspace users. We can also transfer our users to different license types, such as a cloud identity license, if you want to retain the account, but not incur any additional licensing costs. And those are the options available within Patronum for user on- and offboarding. Finally, within this demonstration, we're going to take a look at our newest addition to Patronum, our Google Drive Management and Compliance section. Currently within this section, we have 3 options that we're going to explore: shared drives, file sharing, and search. Within the shared drive section, we give you the ability to explore all the shared drives within your Google Workspace environment. Here you can view the contents of all shared drives, as well as view and manage the members. You can also filter on these drives by name or even type. This allows us to focus on internal or external shared drives, and explore where an external drive originated from, as well as giving us the ability to discover the contents. As you can see, we have 2 external drives here. With a right click, we can see which of our users have access, and also which other external users also have access. By expanding the drive, we can explore the contents to see if any sensitive files are leaking out of our organization. From a file sharing perspective, Patronum gives you an overview into who has access to your Google files and data, both internal and external. Here, we can see which files are accessible to people with just the link. We can see how many of our users have access to files with just the link. We also show files that are accessible via target audiences. You can also download a full list of the files that are accessible. Clicking on the export icon here will download a CSV file containing a list of all files shared with these users. We can also filter these results. If we select external, we are presented with a list of external users who have access to our Google file data. Here we can select any of these external users and see which files this user has access to. We can unshare these files individually or unshare all the files from this user with a simple click of the Confirm button. Within Drive Search, we give you the option to search for files across the entire Google Workspace environment, from users' My Drives to shared drives. You can search for files by name, file ID, owner, last modified, etc. So let's perform a file search for files that contain the word Paul. The search returns this folder, and now we can explore the folder and make changes. This is really useful when wanting to add new users to a file or change the ownership. And that's it. Thanks for watching our demonstration of Patronum. And don't forget to follow Patronum on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn.